Hi everyone, so I'm Meryl and I teach the US history class, which is an honors class, and people often ask what's inside it, what's it like, and because it is so unique and different to what anybody else might be doing, I thought it might help to show you. People also want to know how long it will take, and this is very difficult for me to know because some of my students will do it in 4 hours a week, and others they've told me up to 13. It does depend on how fast your child works, their prior knowledge, how fast they can read, how distracted or not that they are. So let me just show you. There is a module per week, and you can see some of the modules. This is the opening one. It's fairly short. Goes into really how we're going to study, and various things like that, to do America before Columbus, Age of Exploration, 13 colonies. And what I want to show you today, I'm going to take you through my Road to War module, which you can see is a little longer, but some of the assignments are short and some of them are long. And do bear in mind that the students do not ever have to write tests. So once they've finished with the module, they are done. It's not like they're going to still have to spend time studying it and then taking the test. So do take that into account when you kind of think, oh wow, there's quite a lot of work to do in this module. Yes, there is quite a lot of work. However, as I said, when they're done, they're done. There's no module test or anything else like that. So here's the first assignment, where they actually are taken through a oral history. There are some pictures here, a slave model ship, there is a medicine chest, an old photo, and they expect you to go through these things. There's also transcripts down here that they can use if they don't want to listen to the audio. And once they go through it, there are questions on this page that they will be answering. Let's go back into it. So that is the first. This is now, so the road to the War of Independence. So they will go through those things and answer the questions on the page using the audio and the documents. And there is a rubric explaining what I'm looking for from them. So that is, you can see it wasn't a lot on that page. That shouldn't take them more than 15 or 20 minutes. The next one here is they're going to look at the ledger of a Virginian merchant, William Ramsay. I love assignments like this because they actually get to look at something real. This was a real ledger. They will go through it, clicking on these different things, and in the actual assignment explains to them how to do it. And there are questions. Now the questions are there. They're all really easy if you actually do it. It's just to make sure the students actually do this. If I just simply said, spend time looking at this ledger, I think many of you will know your kids will go, well, yeah, okay, I'm done, and move on out. Instead, I make them really tour the ledger, and they will learn about life in the colonies at that time. And as I said, there are various questions and things that go through it. I explain very carefully to them how to navigate it. So they are working there with their primary document to get a feel for what life was like in the time period. Okay. Then we go on to the Great Awakening. This is just, I think it's just about a page. It's not very long. I asked them to do some brief research, and then there's a worksheet where I asked them to complete it and talk about the effects, looking at those three different things. In fact, there were cards. I just kind of cut and paste them, and then they take a photo of it. So sometimes the work they'll be doing isn't actually online. They'll be doing it offline, and they'll be scanning it and typing and then uploading it here. Okay, French and Indian War. They will go into Edpuzzle is a means of delivering YouTube videos with questions in them. And so as they watch, every now and again there'll be a question to make sure that they're actually watching the video. Again, because I'm not standing in front of them in a live class, I can still tell if they're actually watching. And Edpuzzle also shows me if they're actually have watched it or if they've just quit out of it. So there's various different ways of actually making sure that the kids do actually do what they're supposed to do. And we then go and grade them on their answers to the questions in it. See what's the next module. Some of them are multiple choice and some of them aren't. Now here they're actually taken through a little simulation about running their own colony. They create their own spreadsheet. There's a little video introduction where I explain to them what to do, and then they're going to go through this actual a Google slide, and it takes them through acting out as if they were the colonists, and they have different choices to make, and takes them all the way up to the summer of 1776. And depending on their choices will depends what happens. And this will give them a little feel for what it was like to actually live during that time. And I try to do this to constantly put them in the moment and let them actually experience what's going on. So again, it's going to take them some time, but it's not as if it's just, really hard work. And I think the kids all really enjoyed it and had fun making the choices that they did. Okay, I'm just scrolling down. I just need to see which is the last one in the module. Getting there again. Okay. No, I've just gone past it. Sorry, this is now the next one. Okay, right, here we are. Okay, so we're at try writing your own colony. Okay, for Crown and Colony, I'm going to go into that one. It's actually an online game. It does take a while, I must say. It takes about 30 minutes to play it. I played it the whole way through. But this actually takes them to the events leading up to the Boston Massacre. And it's something that they're going to enjoy playing, but it actually has the real characters in it. It's something that an elementary kid or a middle school kid could also enjoy, but it introduces all these people, and somehow being in there and you making the choices, and one of those things that, depending on how they choose, will actually come out. There is a slideshow here which they will be given various, so there's 2 worksheets. First of all, they're going to use that one to record their own opinions, and then they're going to submit it. And then here is a slideshow which they will be going through, and it will be guiding them through the questions. They will be weighing the evidence for the Boston Massacre. And I use a lot of these kind of assignments because I want the students to actually look at the evidence themselves, read the actual historical documents. Later on, they'll eventually be able to actually hear people speaking. Of course, at this stage, it's really just documents. It's taking a while, sorry to load. But they will work through this, and they will be, I think, recording the answers to these questions. Yes, there's questions as they go along here, and then on the other document is where they'll actually be flipping back and forward, and they will actually be giving their answers. And you can see they're going through personal testimony, etc., and they're going to be reading it. And they're not very long. This is from John Adams, and there are short pieces, so your kids don't have to be amazing readers. I'm not making them read long passages, but they will be actually interacting with real history. Let's carry on. Again, that's not a very long slideshow. It shouldn't take them a long time to do. This here is a crash course video that they're going to be watching. I enjoy using those because it gives more detail. It's a quick way of doing it. Same time, I need to see that they're actually paying attention. Here, I've actually given them a chart that they have to fill out as they listen to it. Other times, I'll get them to make notes. So again, I'm teaching them how to actually take notes, so that will help them when they get to college, because they'll learn how to sit and listen to a lecture, in this case, a crash course video, and make notes. Here, we actually use a comic, and there's a little assessment at the end, which is just a few questions. Oh, okay, I don't want to go into that thing. They'd actually have to download this, so I'm not going to do that here now. But it is a comic strip about the Continental Congress. You can see I try and use as many different ways of teaching as possible, so it's not always the same. It's not always videos. Here is a short video that they're going to watch by Hip Hughes History, who is a very engaging teacher, far more fun than me, which is why I do occasionally teach myself. But if I can find someone who's doing a better job than me, there is no purpose in making them listen to me. And here I want to make sure, did they listen? Do they understand what the 7 main arguments are? Again, that video was just maybe 5 minutes, so it shouldn't take them along. Here again is which would they choose. The students themselves are going to pick which side they would have these people would come down on. They give different little sketches of different types of people, and that was the previous one, and they have to actually figure out, would they have been a patriot, or would they have been on the side of the British, the Tories? And that's just helping them to understand what motivated people to take either side. And then finally, at this point here, I asked them to decide what they would choose, them personally. And it was very interesting when we did this class last year. is that, many who today are very patriotic Americans realize they possibly would have picked Tory because they've suddenly realized why people picked that. And that's what I'm constantly trying to do, is get students to actually stop and think and say, if I was there, would I have been participating? Why not? How has this affected us eventually today, because people did do what they did? Did it make the fact that the outcomes, we now of course are all happy that we live in the America we live in, but did that always justify the means to get there? So those are the kind of questions that they will be asking themselves. Okay, I'm just going to go through now and see where I've got to. Okay, we are now at the end of the module, and then at the end of every module, so this would be a whole week's worth of work that you've just seen. At the end of this module, I asked them to reflect. The first time around I explained in more detail what I wanted, but I wanted their reflection to say what they learned. I'm not looking for them to what they personally learned, like really them. Not just like, oh, I learned that this and this and this happened. Well, what use is history if we just know a lot of facts? I want them to say that they realized how hard it was to choose which side, that they realized that you had to be brave to actually be a patriot, to realize, some of them pointed out things to me like they realized they didn't like all the things the patriots did and they didn't think they were all right, even though they're glad that finally the patriots won. And anything that actually touched them personally, made them think, they get their points. If they just give me a list of facts they learned, they will get 0, because I want them to realize history is alive and real and affects us today and can affect our own lives. So I hope that's been a little helpful to take you through what a typical module, if you can call my modules typical, because every module, as we're looking at different things, I have tried to see what are the best ways of doing it. And so there will be similar things in each module, but there aren't always good online games. And that's, if there's no good online game, I'm just not just going to put a game in for the sake of a game. It has to always actually be adding to the student's knowledge. So I hope that was helpful.